I think we can start because we've already got a quorum. So please invite the administration in. Tabled before members is a paper responding to the three issues raised last time, namely public health, fireworks, and also number of government vehicles which are of Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4, and Euro 5 types. So the paper came just shortly before the meeting started. So we have with us Ms. Christine Low, Mr. Andrew Lai, Mr. Pang Sik Wing, Ms. Selina Lau, and I believe members know them very well. And table before members is the administration's reply to the three issues raised by members last time, namely public health, display of fireworks, and government vehicles of Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4, and Euro 5 types. I believe we can concentrate on the first reply. The other two replies merely provide further information to members. But anyway, I believe the administration can take us through the paper, especially the first one, or the reply on the first issue. Yes, Chairman. Last time, members asked whether there would be further tightening up during the 5-year period, and I think this is going to happen. And in fact, Mr. Dennis Kwok asked a question about the EIAO and the APCO, whether the two should be reconciled. And in fact, the question put to us by the Secretariat didn't include this point made by Mr. Dennis Kwok. So the reply is mainly a reply to Mr. Wu Chi-wai's question. So does Mr. Dennis Kwok want us to address the issue now on the need to reconcile the two pieces of legislation? Now, if I think it's difficult for us to make use of this opportunity to reconcile the two pieces of legislation. And so if Mr. Dennis Kwok doesn't mind, the matter, I believe, should be brought back to the Yay panel for more detailed discussion. But I hope we've basically addressed Mr. Dennis Kwok's concern and a concern raised by other members. And then will you elaborate on the point about whether public health will be treated as a factor of paramount importance, and whether this will be reflected in the wording used in the bill? In fact, Chairman, in this exercise, we have no intention to amend the interpretation with regard to public health. In fact, Section 7.2 says that the objectives shall be to promote the conservation and the best use of air in the air control zones in the public interest. And so the interpretation of public interest hasn't been amended. It has remained the same. And of course, public health, the protection of public health is a very important factor. when we talk about the need to safeguard public interest. In 2009, we issued a consultation paper on the revision of the AQOs, and in that consultation paper, we stated very clearly that public health was a very, very important concern on the part of the administration in proposing to revise the AQOs. And in fact, when we come up with the AQOs, we make reference to the WHO guidelines. So it can be seen by our making reference to WHO guidelines and targets that we do attach very great importance to public health. And then it's difficult for us to specify that among different factors of public interest, public health is of paramount importance. That is because we need to consider a host of factors, social factors, economic factors, and so on and so forth. And I think this principle is also in line with the principle laid down in the WHO guideline. And so public health or the protection of public health is one of our main policy considerations. And in the bill, we are proposing this change, and that is the Secretary has to, at least once every 5 years, review the AQOs. And wherever possible, we will be trying to tighten the AQOs. So in fact, we've already given the undertaking in this manner to uphold and protect public health. But then members want to know how such an approach is reflected in the wording in the bill. So you're trying to tell us that, in fact, public health is one of your major considerations, and in fact, you haven't really reflected this policy intention in the wording in the bill. Yes, that's basically our approach, Chairman. Thank you. I think today we can ask questions on the three main issues: the impact on various trades and industries, and then the relationship with EIAs, and then finally emission standards. Last time we dealt with the 5 issues, and we didn't really have time to deal with the 3 papers provided by the administration to the Bills Committee in the initial stage. So members can now ask some general questions, and then we can proceed to clause-by-clause scrutiny. No? No questions? No questions on those papers?
完全冇，我哋真係去。
Then I think we can. Mr. Lo Wai Kwok, I think we can start clause-by-clause scrutiny. All right, if members are all happy, then I think we can start clause-by-clause scrutiny.
好，咁或者我哋將個時間交俾
Right, so is it that Ms. Lau will now, or Mr. Lai, or Mr. Pang will now lead the discussion? Yes, Chairman. In fact, there are 4 parts in the bill. The first part is preliminary. So there will be amendments to sections 3 to 7. So clause 1 is the short title and commencement. And the ordinance will come into operation on the 1st of January 2014. Then part 2, amendments to the ordinance. Clause 2, the ordinance is amended as set out in sections 3 to 7. So section 2 amended. The definition of air quality objective, or will we be using the English version? If there's no objection, yes?
So let us look at the English version of the text. All right, the air quality objective, as far as the definition is concerned, an air quality objective established by the Secretary under Section 7 will be repealed, and the air quality objective referred to in Section 7A bracket 1 will be substituted. This is because Section 7 will be repealed and it will be substituted by Section 7A. And that's the amendment. And then the definition of the technical memorandum in Section 2, the reference to Section 7 will be repealed because it no longer exists, and that means the air quality objectives will not appear in Section 7 of the technical memorandum. That's the amendment. And Section 7 will be repealed. And there will be a new Section 7A, which will replace the repealed Section 7. Now, Section 7A is referred to in Clause 5. That is to say, the purpose of the air quality objectives will be to promote the conservation of air in the zone in the public interest under Section 7A bracket 2. And these are the aim of the AQOs. And then Schedule 5 will be used to include the AQOs, and also stipulates that the AQOs should be reviewed regularly, and that's in bracket 6. The review period means the period of 5 years beginning on the 1st of January 2014 and or every successive 5-year period. That means a review must be conducted within each review period. And then, bracket 4, after a review is carried out, as the Secretary must submit a report of the review to the ACE, the Advisory Council on the Environment. So these provisions will be included, and that is to say a reference to an air control zone includes a part of an air control zone. Maybe I'll pause here. Mr. Dennis Kwok. One question. We talked about Section 7A as soon as reasonably practicable after a review is carried out, etc. Well, what is the principle behind? Are you assuming that the ACE, in setting a new set of AQOs, will come to LegCo, or they will have a role to play in the legislative process, so that once the AQOs have been set up, a review report will be submitted to the ACE. Mr. Lai. Under the existing APCO, it stipulates that for updating AQOs, the Secretary must report to the ACE, and this is the existing provision. So in the bill, we followed the same practice. However, for the review of AQOs, it is a major policy task of the Bureau and the EPD, so there will definitely be extensive consultation, including a consultation and report at the LegCo. This will definitely be part of the process. And if the AQOs are to be changed after a review is carried out, then in the bill it stipulates that the schedule will be amended, and the amendment bill will be tabled in Council so that members can scrutinize the bill. So what if after 5 years after the review, the Secretary is of the view that there is no need to update AQOs? That means the Secretary won't need to come to LegCo. According to the bill, he just needs to submit the review report to the ACE. Is that right, Mr. Lai? As I said, updating AQOs is a major policy of the Environment Bureau. If for some reason, after the review, no updating of AQOs is to be carried out, this is also an outcome of the review. The AQOs, if after the review the AQOs are to be updated, then definitely the Secretary will need to be accountable to the public and report to LegCo. It's not the case that since the AQOs are not to be updated, we don't need to come to LegCo or explain to the public. How can you be sure of that? Because updating AQOs is a major policy, and we must inform the public and the LegCo of the outcome of the review. Under Secretary, perhaps let me supplement here. Maybe Mr. Kwok's concern is whether we have actually done it, although we say that a review has to be conducted once every 5 years. Now, we're talking about a review mechanism, and colleagues have mentioned that in the US, if a review is conducted, there is a question on how this is to be initiated, and this is also something that the public should know. And we will definitely inform the EAP, and therefore, there's no question about the public and electrical not knowing about the outcome of the review. In the process of the review, we would need to come back and report to members about, say, the data of the review and the outcome. And in the process, the Secretary will make decisions, and the Secretary will need to explain his decisions to the public. My concern is that after the review, there is an outcome, and then a report will be submitted to the ACE, and that is what the administration calls a review. Well, we didn't have any review for the past 20 years. Now we have a mechanism of review once every 5 years, so we welcome that. Now, the other point is about public health. I accept your point of view. I won't take it further. But in order to promote the importance of public health, and as you agree that as far as AQOs are concerned, public health is a very important factor. So apart from submitting the AQOs to, or outcome of the review to the ACE, will you consider submitting the report to, say, the Department of Health within the administration as well, to explain to them the effect or impact on public health, so that at least during the updating of AQOs, we can really attach importance to public health. A report can be submitted to the Department of Health for their information, and in the process, the Department of Health can also express any concerns on public health. Now, let's say the AQOs are not to be changed. That's the outcome of the report, and if the report is submitted to the Department of Health, they may say that air pollution has reached such a level that it must be updated. Now, if we look at the map on air quality released in March, I don't know which page it was, but it was mentioned that when we consider the AQOs, we will definitely consult the Department of Health. And that was a clean air plan for Hong Kong. Mr. Lai. As public health is an important factor in considering the review of AQOs, in the process we do fully consult the Department of Health and the views of their colleagues, and we will continue to liaise closely with the Department of Health, and the Department of Health also has an official member in the ACE. My concern is in subsection 4, I wonder if the Department of Health should be added so that the Secretary must submit a report to the ACE as well as the Department of Health. In fact, the Department of Health is also represented on the ACE. Yes, I know, but as far as the legislation is concerned, I hope that importance attached to public health can be shown in the legislative text. Well, I originally asked for the inclusion of the words public health in the text, but I accept your explanation, and this is what I want to do. We do have a consensus here as to whether this can be properly reflected in this amendment bill. We feel that the current proposal should be maintained. And I think we should not dwell further into this matter. We can go back and think about that. As far as legislation and commitment at the policy level are concerned, we can go back and consider and see how we can address Mr. Kwok's question. Now, just to follow up on this point raised by Mr. Kwok, he has pointed out a number of matters. For example, whether that you should come to LegCo and whether there should be public consultation. All these are not expressly written out in the bill. But as you said, it's the past practice that for such a major policy, public consultation will definitely be done. Now, I also note that bracket 3 and bracket 4, there is a slight change here. After consultation to the ACE, and that's the existing provision in under subsection 3, and now it's a submission of the report to the ACE. So the wording was more specific in the existing legislation. That is, the ACE will be consulted, but now a report will be submitted to ACE. It seems that after receiving the report, the ACE can do nothing, can sit on the hands and do nothing. So please explain to me about this change, Mr. Pang. Yes, there will be a minor change, because in the future a review will be conducted, but it doesn't mean the AQOs will definitely be amended. But in the past, the AQOs may be amended after consultation with the ACE.
Because bracket 3 refers to the amendment. But then under 4, as there may not be an amendment, and that's why it merely says that the Secretary must submit a report of the review to the ACE. But then, Chairman, because at the moment there is this obligation under the law to consult the ACE, and in future the process may not be that clear. Now, if you state that you must consult the ACE in drawing up the report, I don't think you have difficulty doing that. Now, I think next time we can explain to members the steps for the review, how we're going to trigger off the whole process, and also we need to also consider the role of the ACE. And if we really need to revise the AQOs, we of course need to come to LegCo. Mr. Kwok is, I believe, asking us what's going to happen if we do not change the AQOs. If you do not want to change the AQOs, or what you may, or should I say, I'm worried that you'll just come to Yay panel and ask members' views, and then each member can speak for 5 minutes, and then you'll say, oh, no revision. Perhaps we can give members a paper on the procedures. Yes, Mr. Lo Wai Kwok. Concerning consultation with ACE and also the submission of the report. Now, I want to say that in the bill, it is a review once every 5 years is provided for, and the law stipulates that the Bureau needs to hand in its homework, so to speak. A report has to be submitted to the ACE, and so I think the undertaking is clear and specific. And then, concerning the review to be carried out once every 5 years, I think this promise is a manifestation of accountability. I don't think it's really necessary to state which organizations the Bureau needs to consult. I'm sure if the Bureau says that it will merely consult ACE and will not come to LegCo, I'm sure LegCo members will not accept such an arrangement. So I think the administration can give us a paper on the administrative procedures to be followed in the future. I believe that may be better than putting everything down in the legislation. Thank you. I believe this is only a comment, and I don't think there is a need for a response from the administration. Now, for members who've just arrived, I want to say that I asked members whether they had further questions on the policy issues, and they said no, and so we started clause-by-clause scrutiny. But this morning, we were given a paper on issues raised last time. The second and third replies seek to provide us with more information, and the reply to the first issue is more relevant to the bill. So we are now under or we're now on section 7. All right. If there are no questions from members, then I think Mr. Pan can continue. Yes, Chairman. So we have a new schedule, and that's a schedule 5 immediately after schedule 4. And schedule 5 contains the details with regard to the air quality objectives. And there are 3 parts to this schedule. First of all, interpretation. Now first, we have the definition of fine suspended particulates and respirable suspended particulates. We need to have definitions for these 2 types of particulates. So the differentiation is made based on the size of the particulates. So fine suspended particulates, 2.5 μm or less, then RSP 10 or less. Then second point, application. Then third, reference conditions. We make reference to temperature and also pressure. Then part 2, concentration limits of air pollutants. Sulfur dioxide, RSP, fine suspended particulates, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, carbon monoxide, and lead. Chairman, perhaps I can pause here and see whether members have got any questions. Any questions from members? Ms. Ho, we've already started clause-by-clause scrutiny. And we are now on Schedule 5, the definition of pollutants. Any questions?
呢個比較技術啲。
This is technical in nature. And I think the data are quite readily understandable. Yes, I think the criteria are clear with regard to say how the measurements are taken, but I think it's rather difficult for us to give comments. Mr. Loy Kwa, I believe you're in a better position to comment. Chairman, I think there are standards to go by. I understand that some have asked whether we should adopt the ultimate goals or the interim goals. But I think there's no need for us to really go into the technical details because we do have international reference standards to go by. And so the measurement methods, under what circumstances measurements should be taken, we can just go by the international reference standards. Do members have any questions, or does the administration have anything to add? No, so that's all with regard to clause by clause scrutiny. And there's also part 3, and that's section 8. Certain interim arrangements. Um, 8(1), it says that concerning the air quality objectives published in the APCO technical memorandum, these will cease to have effect on the expiry of 31st December 2013. And then we are here saying that there will be a 3-year transitional period. And then what if the EIA report has been approved or the environmental permit has been obtained? And then if there are to be variations under section 13(4) of the EIA ordinance, there will be this 3-year transitional period. And the AQOs will continue to be enforced, and the new AQOs will not apply in the 3-year transitional period under such circumstances. Alright, do members have any questions? No? Yes? Let's pause.
國會議員係
要就係嗰個
Mr. Kwok? So are we talking about the 147 items in Annex C? In other words, the EIA has been approved, the EP has been obtained. I'm referring to CB1 1055. And that's there is an Annex C there. (147) items, and the existing AQOs can still apply during the transitional period. Is that right, Mr. Lai? Basically, yes. Earlier on, we gave members a paper, an Appendix C. Details the designated projects with approved EIA reports and valid environmental permits under the EIA ordinance as at the middle of May this year. But then from now till the end of this year, the Director of Environmental Protection may still be approving new EPs. And for these EPs, they will still enjoy the 3-year transitional period arrangements. Now, because in Appendix A there are 63 items, and the EPs may be issued before the end of the year, right? Now, at Appendix A contains projects with study briefs issued, but EIA reports not yet submitted. So the EIA reports may be submitted before the end of the year, and approval may be given before the end of the year. And then Appendix B is about projects of EIA reports already submitted and being considered by the EPD. Now, so can it be that I submit a study brief now and then you approve the study brief before the end of the year, and then the transitional arrangements do apply? No. Now, Chairman, where do we draw the line concerning the 3-year transitional period? Now, say the new AQOs will come into effect on the 1st of January next year. So in other words, the existing AQOs should lapse on the 31st of December this year. Before the 31st of December this year, for EPs which have been signed by the director, that's where we draw the line. In other words, the EIA report has been completed and submitted to the ACE for comment, and the DEP has already made a decision before the 31st of December this year. Then under such circumstances, the transitional arrangements will apply. Now, if someone wants to propose a project now and he has just submitted a study brief, I don't think he can complete all the steps within a few months' time. And so there shouldn't be projects outside Appendix A and Appendix C which can enjoy the 3-year transitional arrangement. Now, some projects have already been granted the EEP, so that's clear. And some projects may be granted EEPs before the end of the year. All right, so those will also enjoy the 3-year transitional arrangement. Mr. Low. But then what if an amendment is proposed to the study brief?
So will that be an amendment because the new requirements are to be complied with, and yet the EP won't be issued until the following year, and the new AQOs should apply. So will there be a conflict with the study brief, and is it necessary to amend the study brief on that item? Mr. Lai. Thank you, Mr. Low, for your concern. For the study brief approved, the project proponent must comply with the existing AQOs, and that's the standard we use. And the proponent must understand that after the completion of the EIA report, when it's submitted to the EPD for approval, he has to consider whether everything can be completed before the 31st of December. For example, the study brief has been submitted to the EPD, but an EIA must or may take a year or two before it's completed. That means the completed in 2014. Then the AQOs to be used should be the new ones. That's the responsibility of the proponent. So you can, by doing so, avoid necessary amendments to the study brief. That is, you can manage your expectations and be prepared, because say if you fail in this paper, then for the other paper you should be more careful. So for the 60 plus projects, they have this understanding. Any other questions? If not, then let's continue. Chairman, we've reached the end. All right. Then we still have some questions that are not yet answered. The ACE, the consultation process. Yes, we will give you an answer. So do we need to schedule for the next meeting? Or maybe your reply can be circulated among members, and then we will decide whether to have another meeting. we have reserved a time slot for the next meeting. We've informed members before. Originally, we said that the next meeting will be held on the 25th of June. It's about 2 weeks away. When do you think you can reply to us? Very soon, in just a few days' time. So in a few days' time, we can decide whether we need to come back and further discuss that issue on the 25th. If we don't need another meeting, the administration is proposing to resume the second reading of the bill in July, and we are required to report to the House Committee on the 5th of July, and also the deadline for giving notice for amendments is the 8th of July. Yes, Ms. Ho. Well, if we could finish sooner, then perhaps we could report to the House Committee sooner so that we don't have to wait for the very last meeting. Yes, we'll ask the Secretariat to check that for us. Yes, because I am worried that many bills will have to be dealt with at the last Council meeting. Yes, we can check with the Secretariat and inform members afterwards. So no other questions? So we can adjourn the meeting earlier. Thank you.
你死問唔問問題嘅問題。